Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the dumbbell standing alternating shoulder press, and we're going to be taking a pronary grip with this exercise. At the end of the video, I'm also going to be going over the mistakes that you want to avoid. So when you're doing this exercise, you want to make sure that your feet are around shoulder width apart, make sure that your hips are in and that your core is tight. Also make sure that you're coming to a full extension at the top and bringing the weight all the way down. Now, one key thing you want to make sure that you're doing is keeping the forearm perpendicular to the ground. So what that means is basically keeping your forearm straight. You don't want to bring it so low to the point where your forearm is starting to point forward, and it ends up, obviously an excessive version of that would be parallel to the ground. So just bring it down underneath your chin, and then you can go all the way back up. And like I said, at the end of the video, I'm going to go over some of the mistakes and demonstrate them. But before we continue with more tips, here's a word from today's video sponsor.
I'm today's video sponsor, and if you'd like help losing fat or gaining muscle, there are a few ways I can help you down below. Either set up a free consultation with us, purchase through one of our free affiliate links, or purchase one of our instant access affordable training programs. Can't wait to be of service to you. Now let's get back to the rest of the video.
Now, one key thing when you're doing any shoulder press variation is to make sure that you're aiming to get your biceps by your ears. So what that does, it ensures that you're pressing directly overhead. Try not to press behind your head or even in front of your head, or like near your face. That's what usually most people do, is they'll press forward, or they're excessively arched to the lower back, which is why I was saying in the beginning that you need to make sure that you keep your core tight as well as your glutes. That connects your upper and lower body and makes it as stable as possible when you're doing this standing variation of a shoulder press. This is a great exercise also too for those who tend to press harder on one arm than the other. So if you use a barbell, it's more likely than not that you're going to have a stronger arm, obviously, and that arm's going to take the majority of the pressure. So using dumbbells is also a very helpful way to train your shoulders. And if you find that one side is lagging more than the other, once you're done doing your set, just do an extra 5 reps on the side that's lagging. That's how I personally got my left shoulder to the same size as my right, because my left shoulder was always like significantly smaller. As weird as that looks, or you could imagine, that's definitely possible for that to happen. And over the course of like 4 months or so, they're basically caught up now. Next thing you want to do is make sure that you're doing it in a nice controlled fashion. Do not use momentum. This is not a push and press. So don't bend your knees and push up with every repetition. Keep your form as strict as possible and make sure that you're doing it in a controlled fashion and pressing directly over your head. Another thing you want to make sure is that you're going all the way up. So what I recommend is that you go right before you lock out your elbow and then bring it right back down in a controlled fashion. Now here's some mistakes that I want you guys to avoid. The first one is half reps. Don't do half reps at the bottom or half reps at the top. Just do full repetitions. That way you benefit from the exercise as much as possible. Also make sure not to excessively arch your lower back, because notice my biceps are no longer by my ears and is also placing excessive stress on the lower back. Also don't press forward. You also want to make sure your chin stays tucked and that you do not bring the dumbbell that low. Just bring it right underneath your chin and then back up. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you don't bend the elbows in towards you. Keep your forearms perpendicular to the ground.